Sure.
Be close to where
Sure.
I don't want it right in your face there.
Okay, this microphone isn't going to help you hear me, but it's going to help the the camera, the yeah. Actually, Sean Morrissey was going to sing the Nancy. Oh, okay. I want to welcome everyone here. I'm glad everyone came out. We chose this day because we knew it was going to be nice weather and nice and cool and no rain, so we did a pretty good job, I think. This is a long time coming. We've worked on this project probably for about 7 or 8 years, and it started out just as an idea, kind of a dream, and here we are today. It's a reality. The Cedar View Trail. Of course, the big obstacle we had was getting across Cedar Creek, and we were lucky enough to secure federal funds to put this bridge across the creek, which if you stick around today, you can either walk down, ride your bike, we have a trail buggy, or you can jump in one of our vans and go down and see the structure if you haven't already. It's quite a structure, and I think you'll be impressed with it. To start out, I want to make a few introductions, and then I'm going to have Ron Meyers talk to you a little bit about the trail. And then after Ron, I'm going to introduce some other people that have been very influential in this project. But right now, I want to introduce my board members, and I see some of them out here. Terry Deers up here is our chairman. Wayne Parsons, Gene Parker, I see Gene back here, Keith Wells, and I don't think Keith made it, and Kathy Tollenier is our newest board member, and she had to be out of town. So we have 3 of the 5 board members, and these board members serve without compensation. They put a lot of time and effort in their job, and they've been working on this project for some time, and we're glad to have them serve the public like they are. In addition, I want to introduce my staff. Therese Kaminsky, standing over here, is our naturalist. Ron Meyers, to my left here. Ron is our newest member of our staff. He did serve on the board, and now he's a staff member. Sean Morrissey back there. And also I want to recognize Wendell Hall. I see Wendell's here, and Wendell worked for us for 10 years, and he was helped build this trail and worked with the park for a number of years, and he just recently retired, so I'm glad Wendell's here. We're going to keep this short. We don't want to keep you standing here forever and ever. I think at this time I'm going to have Ron come up, and he's going to enlighten you a little bit about the history of the trail and have a few words of wisdom. So Ron, why don't you come on up?
Not sure about wisdom part. I'll try to say a few words. Okay, again, I want to welcome everybody here. It's nice to see a great turnout. I'm reminded that those of you who don't remember or never knew, but 5 years ago, if we had a gathering like this at this place, we'd all be standing on top of about 20 feet of junk cars. So there's been some progress made. This trail, as Dennis said, has been a long time coming. It's been at least 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, when we started the board, County Conservation Board, in developing long-range plans, as they're always doing and updating, decided that the trail function of the programs were one of the most widely used and appreciated aspects of the program, and we did make a commitment to improve trails and add trails, and sometimes they can be a long time in coming, but this particular trail had a lot of potential and possibilities. It's an extension, if you will, of Jefferson County Park. From here to the bridge adds another 12 or 13 acres of sort of a linear park, but it's a good trail. It provides a nice access to overlooks of the Cedar Creek bottom and the wetlands that are there. The bridge itself is quite something to see. It connects the Libertyville community with a little safer biking route. It's alternative transportation between communities, so it does a lot, and so it really seemed like the thing to do. But there was also obstacles when you started thinking about it. There was a junkyard here, and I'm not running down junkyards as long as we're going to have cars and get rid of them and get new ones. You know, in our society we have junkyards. They're not always where you want them to be, but in this case it was an obstacle to work around, and you go 9/10 of a mile up the trail and you run into a 400-foot void, and you're standing there looking down 60 feet at the creek. And we looked and looked and never could find a vine long enough to swing across to the other side, so we knew we had a problem there. And then the other thing was that we didn't own all this right away. We owned parts of it, but not all of it, so other people had ownership, had other plans, and so trying to work out all those things at first were kind of like obstacles, but in the end I think they became opportunities. They were opportunities, if you could overcome them, to do the things that we've been able to do now. And the staff is always trying to evaluate how to do these things and where to come up with the money and the time to do them. Those are also obstacles. But at meetings and touring other parks and talking with other directors and members from other county conservation boards, we learned that these things are definitely possible, and there's a lot of people out there that can help. And that's been one of the great things about this project. It has brought a lot of people, a lot of entities together, and there's been a lot of help. One of the first things we did was after talking to other boards and all, and we invited Tom Neenan, who's the president and founder of the Iowa Trails Council, to come down and talk to us about how do you set up something like this. This is probably bigger than our board can do alone. And so from that talk we held public meetings, and we ended up forming a Jefferson County Trail Council to work in tandem with the County Conservation Board. And I think that got going in about 1997, and we owe them a debt of gratitude. They've just done a tremendous job and continue to, not only with this trail, but expanding the whole trail system and the possibilities of trails, nature trails, exercise trails, bike trails, whatever you want to call them. So we've been really blessed with that. We've had terrific support from the community, from the Board of Supervisors, past and present, from county engineer, and just a lot of people, the city of Fairfield, the city of Libertyville, and then just the various people that make up the Trail Council and other volunteers as well. So it's really, but it takes time. And you know, sometimes I'd run into somebody and it's been 2 years since we've had stories in the paper, and well, how's the trail coming? And well, there's still no trail, and they get discouraged. But these things, they just take some time, and especially something like that bridge. But anyhow, it's all come together. It's here now for you to enjoy. Want to emphasize kind of that mainly what we've had is a bridge project, and the bridge is complete. We're still working on the trail. We get a few comments. All the funding thus far, everything has been towards the bridge, and so for the rest of the trail, it's going to be improved. It's going to be better than it is. It's going to have a better surface. It's going to be easier to bike on. But all those things have to be worked into the budget and the time frame that we have available. It's better. It's a safer route to Libertyville. It's a scenic route. You've got woodlands to go through. You've got wetlands to see, the creek itself. One of the longer bridges in the county. So there's a lot here for everybody, and it still has that impact of connecting safely a couple different communities. So we think it adds a lot. I wanted to just say that after this little ceremony and ribbon cutting, and we go start taking trips to the bridge, there's tables here. If anybody has a need to sit and rest a little bit, there's water there for you to drink, nice cold water. And also the Trail Council's out here with some things, some posters that that they've made from a Barry Ross painting that he's done for the council. There's t-shirts with the emblem on it that are available. Those t-shirts I think are $10 and the posters are $25, and all the money goes back to the Trail Council and back into the trail system. So if you want to support that, we appreciate it. And another thing about opportunities, if you haven't and want to think about joining that Trail Council, you know, it's really been neat. We've had work days, and we've had people out there with chainsaws and picks and shovels and hammers and drills and doing a lot of hard physical work throughout this system and the whole loop trail that we're trying to develop. But not everybody can swing a pick or run a chainsaw, but they have other things that they can contribute. And for instance, this kiosk, for those of you who, like me, a year ago didn't know what a kiosk was, it's this. We had a group that got interested in the trails. They liked the trail and they wanted to see how they could contribute. And so Doug Adam and his crew out at the MUM shop built several of these for us and donated them to the council, and we put them up at the various trailheads. Somebody else then had a lot of skills and could put together signs like we have in the middle of this kiosk and others depicting the overall loop trail, the specific part of the trail that one's set at, put together our literature, our bulletins. Another one that liked the trails but didn't like swinging a pick, but he was real good on computers, and he put together an outstanding trail website. And if any of you haven't gotten on that, you need to try to do that, and it's on the website name is on that literature. Then you have somebody like Barry Ross who enjoyed the trails, and his particular expertise was in painting and illustrating, and so he put together a painting and brought it to us one time, and we've been so impressed with it that we've kind of adopted it. It's now our official trail sign throughout the county. It's evolved into t-shirts, and you know, it's kind of like a rock concert. We want you to enjoy the thing, but we want you to buy something. So, but anyhow, that's kind of the story.
And the Lutherans.
The Lutherans, yeah, I don't want to forget them. That's another group that the good Lutherans of Fairfield and the First Augustana of Lockridge area, they've donated money and then came out. That wasn't enough. They donated money to buy the split rail, and then they came out and installed the fence. We didn't tell them until they got here that this whole area is filled. The County Board of Supervisors, way back probably, this was a big ditch kind of through here, and they brought in old riprap from roads and everything, and it was full of concrete, and it was hotter than it is today. The average age of those good folks that were here was probably 75, and they just really worked hard. And but they did a great job, and those are the kinds of things that to make something like this successful, we have to have, because the County Conservation Board itself manages over 1,000 acres at 9 different park facilities throughout the county, and you know, so our plans are always kind of long range, and we're always behind the gun on being able to take care of things. So we try our best, and I think things are generally pretty well done and pretty well appreciated. But we're always in the need of other kinds of help. So there's a lot of ways you can help, even if you don't think you can help shape or clear a trail. So what was next, Dennis? I think that's about as far as I was going to go.
Introductions into the ribbon cutting.
Okay. You're going to do that?
Yeah, I guess.
Good man. Okay. But thanks again for coming.
Thanks, Ron.
Let me mention just one other thing. One of the Trail Council members, another real good contributor, has been Jeff Fitz-Randolph, and he puts out a newsletter. And he put out a special edition newsletter that's basically just all about this trail. There's pictures on the back of the bridge construction, and it just tells about this trail and in general, and then also about the conversion of railroads, right-of-ways to trails. And so that special edition, there's several copies over there on table. Feel free to take one with you. It'll no doubt be a real valuable asset someday. And then there's also some extra copies of the current Naturally Speaking that the County Conservation Board puts out. And if you're not on that mailing list, we have some extras over there. There was 2 or 3 pages in that devoted to this trail. So, okay.
Thanks, Ron. I'm from a park background, my education is in park management, and when I got out of school, you normally think of working in a public agency with parks, wildlife areas, and trails weren't that big of a item. But now trails is one of the major portions of our program, and I look at it differently. I mean, I love trails. I love to walk on them, and I love to see people walk on them and bike on them. But I look at this section here, from here down to Cedar Creek Timber, as a parkway. It's a trail, but it's also a parkway, and it's an extension of Jefferson County Park that is just across the road here. So this area serves as a dual purpose. It's a bikeway and it's a walkway, but it's also an additional parkland. And I think if you've read the newspaper, you know that when we get, in about 4 years from now, when we get about halfway down, the bypass will be dissecting this trail, and we'll have two bridges to cross. We'll have a bridge that will cross over Highway 34 bypass, and then you go another half mile, and then you'll cross Cedar View Bridge, which we'll see today. So this area, this section of land here is going to be of interest to a lot of different people. Okay, right now we're going to recognize some people that have contributed to this trail project. And excuse me, I'm sweating here, but I guess I'm entitled to do that. The sun's shining down. And when I call your name, we're going to have you come up front, and we're going to have a large group of people here cut the ribbon rather than one person. So we brought a bunch of scissors, and we're going to have a big ribbon cutting. So, and when you do this, you're inevitably going to leave someone out, and we hope we don't, but we're going to give our best shot here. First of all, I'd like to recognize the Jim Moffitt family, the owners of Interstate Land Investment. They own all of the land to the south of this right-of-way. They gave us an easement that made this trail possible. Kurt Y is their farm manager, and I don't see any of these people in the crowd. And also I'd like to recognize Bill and Ann Sickles. Bill used to be from Fairfield. He used to be a vet. They own the land north of the right-of-way, and they gave us an easement. So we feel very fortunate these people were kind enough to give us an easement for this trail. I also like to recognize the Jefferson County Supervisors, Dick Simmons, Steve Bergmeyer, and Mike Pesch. And I see Mike's back here. So Mike, would you want to come up? I'd also like to recognize past Board of Supervisors, Frank Stever and John Estel. When they were in office, they were very supportive of this project. The County Engineer's Office, Tom Goff, our County Engineer. Where's Tom? He's hiding here someplace. Why don't you come up, Tom? Tom has been very cooperative and very helpful in this project. Brian Messer and Dean Carlson, they were our bridge inspectors. And I see Dean's here. They were out on site when the bridge was being constructed and made sure that everyone is following the specifications. The DOT, they've been our partners, Pete Tollenier, Larry Jackson, Russ Smeltzer. Russ has been the one that has been working with me on paying for the project, getting all the book work done, and I don't think any of them are here. Calhoun Burns, they're the one that designed the bridge. I worked with Mike Vanderwert, and Larry Spellerberg is here representing Calhoun Burns. Why don't you come on up, Larry? Dunbar Jones was the people that put the application together that we applied for the money for, secure federal funds, and they wrote a letter and wished us well, but they could not be represented today. the TAC committee of T21. Pam Ward's the chairperson. This committee was, they approved the grant for the bridge, so we were thankful for them. Jefferson County Trails Council, Ron Blair, the chairman, Kent Rice, the past chairman. Both of these guys have done extraordinary amount of work, and I think Ron touched on that. The Conservation Foundation of Jefferson County, Iowa, they're our foundation board. Kathy Peck is the chairperson, if Kathy would want to come up. I'm half done, so just hang on. Fairfield Chamber of Commerce has been very supported. I think Bob's here. Bob, you want to come up? Robert Rasmussen was the mayor during the initial stages. I don't see Bob here. Mayor Ed Malloy has been very supportive of the project. Tom Neenan from the Iowa Trails Council. Tom couldn't make it, but like Ron said, he came and talked to the group 6-7 years ago and kind of pointed us in the right direction. Fairfield Park and Rec, we're kind of partners with them on the loop trail. We managing the south side and they managing the north side. I don't know if any representatives are here or not. The Libertyville City Council and the mayor, anybody from Libertyville City Council or the mayor here, we're appreciative of their support, and they have contributed some monetary benefits to the trail. Claude Brown and the Kiwanis Club. The Kiwanis Club made a substantial donation to the trail, and we like to have representative of the Kiwanis Club. Warren Berman as a financial contributor. Is Warren here? Tom and Tim McMahon, another financial contributor to the Fairfield Trail System. How about any of the Lutherans? Are any of them here? Come on up. Come on up. We got Carl Berg and Sir, I don't know. Kenny McGuire. Kenny, oh yes. Yeah, I didn't recognize you. Kenny McGuire. Jim Horace has done some appraising for us on the right-of-way. I don't know if Jim's here. Jeff Fitz-Randolph for publicity. Jeff, would you want to come up? Jeff does an excellent job keeping everyone informed on what's going on. Maurice Huff and Sons, they're the ones that got rid of the cars for us, and we're very supportive of them. Doug Adams for the kiosks. Is Doug here? Barry Ross for artwork and his contribution. Okay, in addition, I like to have my board members come up. Don't be bashful. And my staff. Wendell, you ain't getting out of this. Trees.
About the past mayor of Libertyville.
Yeah. Huh?
Our main guy.
When I introduced my staff, I forgot Richard Whipple back here is our green thumber. Richard, why don't you come up? You've had to put up with us for the last couple of years.
We could do 2 cuttings too, because I've got more ribbon.
Oh, we can get everybody in.
Just their arms.
I don't have him on the list, but he's standing right. Excuse me. I don't have him on the list, but he's standing right in front of me, and he has generously donated easements and land for part of the loop trail. Mr. Neff, you want to come up?
He's part of this too.
And Sally?
Come on, Sally.
If you ever go to the bridge at Lamson Woods, cross that and you're in the Neff wetland. Ron, is that everybody that was on your list? Okay. Why don't you come up, Ron? So, everybody grab a scissor. If you don't have one, share.
The contractor for the bridge is here. Godbersen-Smith, somebody's here.
Oh yeah, is there a Godbersen? Oh, excellent,
Right.
excellent. And your name?
Mark Fryer.
Mark Pryor. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
All right, Dennis. Okay, arms. Everybody's got to get their arms in. Can you?
Okay, on a count of three, everybody jump at it. Cut now. Well, I'd like to officially dedicate the Cedar View Trail to the citizens of Jefferson County. Thank you very much.
No confetti. Pick it up.
If you've just started watching, we've just opened up the Cedar View Trail, the ceremonial ribbon cutting, and now we're out on the trail, and we're at a little shelter house, and I have Ron Blair with us, who is the chairman of the Jefferson County Trails, and Jeff Fitz-Randolph, who's head of publicity and helps do the website. And so why don't you tell us about this little shelter house that we're at, who built this and how this came to be?
Jeff, you want to answer that one?
Well, we built it one weekend on a fairly hot day, but not quite as hot as today. There was about 10 of us, I guess, and it was kind of prefabricated, and we just put it together and chopped down a bunch of trees over here so you could see out onto the prairie part and the wetlands.
And actually we got about a $3,000 grant from the Greater Jefferson County Foundation, and that was the seed money for building this. Jeff's brother Tim actually helped design the whole thing, and then it was all volunteer labor. We put it together. This is the first structure built by the Jefferson County Trails Council.
And we'll cut the camera here in just a minute so we can see out over these wetlands, because it's really beautiful. There's benches here where you can sit, because it's quite a hike down here. And so if you get tired, there's a place to sit and cool off. And I want to say that you want to bring your binoculars out here too. If you love bird watching or that kind of thing, because you can sit here and really look out over these wetlands. It's quite beautiful and relaxing and very serene out here. So bring your binoculars. Another thing that I want to mention are the t-shirts. The t-shirts that Ron has on, they say Jefferson County Trails on them. They are for sale. And Ron, how much are these t-shirts?
Connie, these t-shirts are just $10, and they're available at the Jefferson County Nature Center. Picture of that there. And they have the artwork on them, kind of a Grant Wood theme that Barry Ross created with his illustration.
Great. And then also, and all this money goes to the Trails Council, right?
Right.
To support the trails. And also, Barry, show the poster that he did. This is the poster that Barry Ross did. He lives here in Fairfield. He's an illustrator. And these also are for sale. And the price of these are how much, Ron?
These are for $25, and they're available at Henderson's, at Somebody Cares, and at the Jefferson County Nature Center.
Okay, great. They're really nice, nice posters. And here's Barry right now. Why don't you come up here, Barry, so everyone can see the poster that you made. And maybe you can share with us how you came about this picture and how you drew it. And
well, you want me to hold this?
Sure, go
okay. Well, it was really the initiative came from Ron. I mean, he came to me and he said, "Gee, I've had this thought of wouldn't it be nice to have, you know, kind of a Grant Wood-looking poster or painting on the trail signs." And I just found it very inspirational. I mean, the whole idea, that I could contribute to the trails in a way that I didn't have to swing an axe or, you know, that kind of thing. Do what I do best, and I've always loved Grant Wood's work, and so it was a really in-depth kind of pursuit of seeing, well, how did he do what he did, and how he did those beautiful rolling, voluptuous hills, which we have around here as well, and combining that with basic illustration, you know, showing people using the trails, you know, coming up with the, you know, like in the Hudson River School of Painters, they would do, you know, that there were no scenes that really looked like the ones they painted. They were just an idealized version of the Hudson Valley and the Hudson River. So this is an idealized version of the trails, and that was it.
great.
Okay.
Thank you much, Barry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great. And if you were out here this morning, you could get a signed one. And I don't know, maybe if you catch up with Barry somewhere, he'll probably sign it for you.
Anyone that buys one would like to stop by my studio, I'd be happy to sign it. You know.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much, Barry, for contributing. They're really beautiful.
Thank you, Connie.
Connie, I wanted to show you one other thing, and that is this was the original idea that Barry would create this artwork that we would use to create signage, because we wanted our trail system to be unique throughout the state, and nobody has signs like this, I can guarantee it. So the inception, the idea was for signs, but then because it was such a beautiful illustration, we decided to do posters and t-shirts as well. But the sign I have right here is for the Cedar View Trail, and then the same exact scene is used, and then we also are going to be using this for the Fairfield Loop Trail as well.
Okay, great. So yeah, along the trails, all over town, you will see these signs, and this is a metal sign, and maybe we'll take a break while the tractor goes by here. Okay, great. One thing we should mention is membership to the Jefferson County Trails. Do you want to, you probably know it by heart.
Yeah.
The memberships. If you use the trails, you should be a member of the Trails Council.
Well, we like to have new members. You don't have to come out and work on the trails, but it just shows your support for the trail system. Jeffrey writes a wonderful newsletter quarterly. We get people's email addresses and then send them informational updates about new events, work days, or ribbon cutting ceremonies, things like that. So it shows your support, and it plugs you into all the events on with the trail system.
Okay, great. Now the memberships are, the individual membership costs $25, family membership is $35, sustaining membership $50, supporting membership $100, and a sponsoring and or business membership is over $100, and of course they'll always take one-time donations.
Exactly.
And one thing at the ribbon cutting ceremony, that if you're just starting to tune in now, we must say that there were several organizations that were involved in creating different things out here. So if your organization wants to participate in some way, I'm sure that if they get a hold of Ron or Dennis Lewiston or Jeff, that there'll be a project that they can participate in, and it could be a smaller project and not labor intensive for weeks and weeks, because obviously this whole trail system is a very big project, and it's going to take probably years to complete even at this point, wouldn't you say?
What we're thinking, Connie, is that we're hoping to have the north half of the loop, everything north of Highway 34, completed by approximately 2005, 2006, and then the southern half of the loop trail will be completed when the DOT puts the bypass in, and that's projected right now for 2006, 2007. So we're looking at approximately another 5 years for the whole trail system to be completed.
Can you tell us a little bit more how the DOT is participating in this side of the loop trail?
Okay. Well, we were very, very fortunate. I mean, we were just right at the sort of nick of time when they were finalizing their design plans for the bypass going around the south part of Fairfield. The DOT is required to spend a certain percentage of their money for enhancements, for non-car and truck-related transportation. And so trail certainly fell right into that category. And we had the right people, Kent Rice from French Reniker, Pete Tollinaire with the DOT, and they all were very keen on our concept of a loop trail, and basically they chose to partner with us and to build 5 miles of trail in conjunction with the bypass.
And the bypass will come by here. Is it going to go over the top of this trail or underneath or what?
It's actually going to go right through it, about a third of the way down from the parking area. And then, as Dennis said in the ribbon cutting ceremony, the DOT will build a 300-foot concrete bridge over the bypass. So it'll basically be the Cedar View Trail, and then there'll be this 300-foot bridge, then you'll come out another half a mile, and then you have the big main Cedar View Bridge over the creek.
Okay, great. That sounds really interesting. Jeff, can you tell us a little bit about your newsletter that you put out?
Well, if you send your name in, you can get a copy of it. It's free. It comes out about once a quarter.
Once a quarter, and can that be emailed to people?
Well, at this point, that can't be emailed, but if you look at our website at jeffersoncountytrails.org, we try to keep that up to date with the latest, and there's maps there and history and a list of restaurants and things in Fairfield and links to other things around Fairfield and other trails in the area.
And will you repeat that address one more time, URL?
It's a long one, but it's jeffersoncountytrails.org.
Okay, so you can go from your home and see the trails and see what's happening there. So I think at this time we'll cut the camera so Richard can come over here and see this beautiful view where we're standing. Thank you. The shot that you're seeing right now on the camera is the shot of the wetlands from the shelter house. And again, there's benches out here for you to sit down and really enjoy it. There's a nice breeze blowing out here. It's really beautiful. And I, again, suggest that if you love to watch birds, bring out your binoculars with you so you can look out over these wetlands, because there's generally different birds out there. The other day we saw some egrets, according to my husband anyway. I didn't know what they were, so he said that's what they were. And it's really a beautiful view from here. The view you're looking at now is the Cedar View Trail Bridge that is just completed. And we're going to go up on the bridge here in a second, but this is about a $500,000 project, I understand. Is that right, Ron?
I think it was $435,000.
And who paid for that?
Most of that money, 80% of it was federally funded, enhancement funds that what are called T21 funds. And then it comes down to individual regions of Iowa, and we're in Region 15, and that was where we got the funding.
Great. And then we'll tell you about some more details when we get out on the bridge. Okay, now we're standing out at the bridge, which is approximately a mile hike out here. And it's actually a nice little hike. Part of it's shady, so it's not too hot on a hot day. And Ron, why don't you come on in and we'll talk about the bridge again. Now, how long did you say that it was?
The bridge is 376 feet long.
Okay, we got that. 376 feet long. Okay.
It's about 60 feet above the Cedar Creek.
And this is an old railroad bed.
That's correct. It was the Chicago Island, Rock Island Railroad.
Okay, and how long is this trail? It goes clear to Libertyville, is that correct?
Yes, I believe that a mile and a half of it is a granular surface, just like we've walked on. And then when you get to 223rd Street, it's 3 miles of county road into Libertyville itself.
Okay, great. So here's a nice little trail all the way to Libertyville and back.
Mm-hmm.
And
4.5 miles each way.
Safe traveling, no cars.
Well, on a county road, it is a shared roadway, but those roads are very seldom used.
Yeah, I guess we have to point that out. So there is some county road use, but for the most part, on this part of the trail, there are no motorized vehicles, correct?
That's correct.
And what are some of the other little rules that we have?
All animals must be on leashes. There's no hunting. As you just pointed out, no motorized vehicles. And I think those are the main do's and don'ts.
And no horses, I saw on the sign.
That's correct. Unfortunately, because we have a granular surface, it would be quite destructive to have horses on them.
It would be too hard to maintain, correct? If you allowed horses on here.
It's not so much maintenance. It's that during spring, when the trail is sort of thawing out, if horses were on it, it would just completely tear up the trail.
Okay, so would you appreciate no horses out here, bicycles and walking and
jogging, walking your dogs, yeah.
Okay, great. Any other details that you'd like to tell us about the bridge while we're up here? We're going to go actually underneath and give you a little bit of a view from underneath because it's quite a ways up. How far up did you say?
About 60 feet above the Cedar Creek. When we go down below, then I can give you some information about the construction elements.
Okay, great. So we're going to cut the camera again one more time for one more view of the bridge from another angle. So we are now below the Cedar View Bridge, Cedar View Trail Bridge, I should say. And Ron, why don't you tell us about these beams while Richard is showing a shot of the underside of the bridge.
Okay. The bridge was constructed by a company called Godbersen-Smith out of Ida Grove, Iowa. They're known as large-scale contractors and did a great job here. What you're seeing, as Richard's showing you, we have a total of 6 beams on this bridge, and the ones that are closest and furthest away each are 120 feet long and each weigh 55 tons. The beams in the middle weigh 60 tons and they're 133 feet long. So you've got these 6 huge, massive beams that are sort of the major infrastructure of the bridge. Then supporting the bridge is they had to build these new vertical piers that would hold up the beams, and we were able to utilize the existing railroad abutments up on the top. And down below, we were not able to use the existing abutments because they were basically in the wrong place from an engineering standpoint. So this is what they had, and this is what they used. Okay,
so all of these columns then are brand new. Is that correct then?
That's correct. That's correct.
And you said also, you mentioned a floodplain down here. Tell us about how far the water gets up here.
Okay, well, the Cedar Creek right now is probably, maybe 6 inches high. But during the spring and the fall months when the rain is heavy, the Cedar Creek can flood all the way up to here where we're standing. So it's a neat creek because during different times of the year you're going to have different kinds of elevations and different kinds of conditions.
And you mentioned kayaking down here. Is there some people that do some water sports on here when the water is higher, obviously?
Yep, canoeists and kayakers usually see them in the spring, May and June, and then again in the fall, maybe September, October.
Okay, great. So at this point, you're not going to see picnic tables down here or anything. And actually, right now, you wouldn't want to have a picnic down here because it's hot. We're kind of like on the bottom ground, as they say. And it's really incredible to see the bridge from this view. It really is pretty amazing. These huge structures. And like you said, these one structures couldn't be reused. This is where the old, of course, railroad bridge used to come across. And this is really pretty amazing. Is there any other details you want to tell us about this side of the bridge?
No, I just think, again, you have to give a great deal of credit to the County Conservation Board and their 7 years of stick-with-itness and working through this project, and now we're getting to enjoy and see the fruits of all their activity.
And you mentioned that this bridge is one of the longest bridges in Iowa. Is that
That's
correct?
Right. I've been told that it's the longest, being 376 feet long. I'm told that it's the longest bridge in Jefferson County, and the engineering company Calhoun Burns told us that they thought it was maybe one of the second or third longest trail bridges in all of Iowa.
Great. So at this point, that's really the end of our show, and we want to really thank Ron here for participating in the Trails Council and all the people that really went into creating this trail and making it happen over all these years. They've really had a vision, and it will be here for years to enjoy. And again, I just want to encourage people, if you're using the trails at all, to become members of the Trails Council, to help show your support, provide them a little funding. It's not that expensive. Family membership is $35. And again, if you're enjoying it, show your support by giving a little monetary membership.
Membership brochures are available at the public library, at the Jefferson County Courthouse, Chamber of Commerce, AJ's Bike Shop. Look for them. The trail maps and the membership brochures are all around town.
Okay. And from time to time, we're going to be doing a show here and there when another portion of the trail gets done. You said there is another portion, a bridge that will be completed in August or September?
That's correct. That is the what we call the Carl Zillman Bridge. It's a beautiful 350-foot plus wooden structure over at Lamson Woods, and it connects Lamson Woods, which is a state preserve, with the Neff family wetlands. So that'll be done real soon.
Okay, so in a couple months, maybe we'll come back and do another ribbon cutting and talk about the whole loop trail that's going to go around Fairfield one day. And we really thank you again for all the work that you've put in and all the people that have participated in this project. A lot of hands have helped made this project successful. So we want to thank you, Ron, very much.
Thanks,